But even like my first ever Olympia win, because of other stuff I had gone through, I actually didn't even really enjoy it. Because of like stress of my health and pressure, something I'd gone through the year before, all this like not being present and suppressing all my like fears I had around it, I just like battled through it, got there, and I was like, it's over.
I've heard you say that winning is not what I once thought it was. I have found it to be much more complex than our traditional definitions of success. What's that mean?
It comes from when I was younger, just like wanting more stuff, a lot of external stuff, a lot of success, again, things out of your control. I wanted like circumstances and objects. I wanted success thinking of something I could like, the world could give me rather than something I could give myself. And I look at winning as success, it's kind of one and the same. And there's this awesome quote by, I think, Jim Carrey, and it goes, I wish for the world to realize all of their dreams so that they can realize they don't make them complete. And he's talking about that most people's dreams are very like external, like champions, like they want to win a medal, they win a trophy, they want a nice car and all this stuff. Then you get it, and when you have everything, you realize this isn't what I wanted. I don't feel complete right now. And I have the amazing opportunity in my life to have accomplished so many of my dreams and realize that there's still a void missing there. The more money I get, the more titles I get, the more I get, it's not filling me up more. But then I discovered that over time, like, it's the effort, it's the journey, it's like suffering through times that I don't want to be at the gym or why I want to quit on my diet, and I pushed myself, and every single moment, every day leading up to the show, and I win all those moments, that's winning. That's like winning in life, continuously every day. And through that journey, being able to build my relationships, not sacrifice them for winning, be able to make myself a better person, not a more stressed out, anxious person, all that stuff coming together, I've already won before I have a trophy in my hands. When I stand on stage, I haven't quit on a workout, I haven't quit on a cardio session. My girlfriend still loves me in the background. She doesn't hate me for neglecting her for the last 3 months of prep. I'm like, I won. You know, like I feel fucking good right now. And if I lose, am I going to leave and be really sad and like cry and like grieve that loss? Absolutely. But I'm still going to be proud of everything I put in. And at the end of the day, that's all I can control. And to me,
that's what you're talking about now, I think. Cynicism is a guarded response which sets yourself up against disappointment. Its role within the system is to protect you against experiencing anything bad. It is a preemptive strike against a perceived threat. If I tell myself that all women are bad, then I'm less likely to seek a relationship with women, and as a consequence, I'm never going to feel the pain of rejection. If I tell myself that everything is shit, or that things will never get better, then I'm excused of ever having to try at anything. It is more comfortable to get fatalistic and call it pragmatism. The cope is framing hope as pathetic and embarrassing and optimism as delusion. It's sour grapes at an existential level. If everything sucks and everyone is terrible and reality is disappointing, and you know that for a fact, then it's the people acting like things can be better that are dumb, delusional, and the problem. The upside of never having to try is never having to feel the pain of failure. I think that's what you're talking about there.
Yeah, very much so. And I think that even that applies to all aspects of life. And what really pushed me to like learn these lessons, again, I'm not like a psychologist or educated like that, but I've lived a lot of life and I've had a lot of ups and downs. And in 2018, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. I was in the hospital for my Olympia prep at about 4 weeks out for a week. And I came out and I didn't know if I was going to be able to compete. I didn't know if I'd be even healthy ever again. I thought everything was going to be taken away from me. And I got through it. I came second at that Olympia somehow, and it was like a battle to the death of numbing everything and just suppressing anything I feel and just trying to focus on bodybuilding. And I did that for about a year and a half. And this whole mindset I built around it was this fear that I'm going to get sick again. I need to quit bodybuilding because I'm going to get sick. I don't have control over my health. I'm going to get sick. And I'm just this constant fear was looming over my head, because if I got sick, then I could be like, I knew I'd get sick. You know, like it was good. I was bound for everything to be taken away from me. It almost happened last year. It's going to happen next year. And I was just living in that to create, to almost prepare myself, to create a little safety blanket, like you said, to just be like, okay, when it happens, I can say, I told you so, I was right, and I'm ready for it, rather than leaning into actually enjoying life and kind of moving past that. So I had to really like reframe my mindset, and I went through this whole journey of like, after that I turned into, you won't get sick, trying to convince myself I'm not going to get sick.
Denial.
Not sick. Denial, exactly. But then you're living in a sense of lack and avoidance, and then you're also constantly thinking of that. And when you're thinking of that constantly, it puts your body in this state of reaction where you're waiting for something to happen. And when something happens, you're like, oh, you know, like, fuck, it's against what I keep telling myself. And then I switched to telling myself, no, you are healthy. Instead of thinking not and in lack, what do you want? Be like, you are healthy. You are going to be okay, all this stuff. And then that still didn't really make me feel better because I'm still kind of unknowing. And then I literally came to the conclusion that I don't fucking know. I was like, the only truth right now is that I don't know what's going to happen, but there are measures I can take to take control of my health as best as I can, and the rest is up to the universe. But the more I stress about it, the more I think about it, it's creating more of this state of reaction in myself. It's taking me out of the present moment to be able to enjoy and perform the way I know I can. I'm not able to enjoy it. And I still battle, of course, sometimes. I didn't just forget about it. But just the understanding and baseline that I don't know the future, so I have to let go of some of those things, is the only thing that really helped my mind get through all that times. And I mean, continuously now when I compete and I'm like, am I going to get sick? Like, I don't know. But when it happens, you're going to deal with it and you'll be okay. So just enjoy this moment right now.
In a voice like now as someone who used to deal with depression and anxiety?
I was definitely more leaning into the anxious, rather than depressed, and that was more like just projecting the future based off unhealed wounds from the past and fears of what happened. The past was going to repeat itself. But now I think my inner voice is just, and it's a constant work I'm doing. I think mental health in general is like putting in reps. It's not just like, oh, I'm good. It's like continuously giving yourself the love you need mentally and physically. And I'm just trying to build a lot more empathy and compassion for myself. Because I didn't directly shame myself, being like, you're not good enough, you're a piece of shit, all this shit. But I would be like, I expected more of myself. Like we were talking with public speaking, I'm like, you just won 4 Olympias and now you're literally like heart racing, can barely breathe because you're about to talk in front of like a few hundred people. Like, you should be able to do this, you're better than this. And that's a form of shame in itself, of expecting something out of myself that maybe I'm not ready for, or just rather than accepting who I am and where I'm at in my life. So I think just building that compassion and being like accepting who I am, and who I am isn't what this perception that maybe people have built with me. And I believe you had this guy on, Peter Crone. Love that guy.
Yeah,
he has this quote and he says, life presents you as people and circumstances to show you where you're not free. And I think that the way I spoke about my inner voice and this expectation of myself with where I wasn't free, and then life put me in this position of millions of people with this idolized perception of someone they look up to, is calm, cool, collected, has his shit together, Cbum, he's so good, he's up there. And I was like, I really have to be that now. Like, I better be fucking perfect now. My dad was like that growing up too, so I had this like, okay, men are stoic and they don't feel anything and they weather the storm and they're good. And I was like a very sentient being, like emotional. And I was like, fuck. So I kind of denied that part of myself for a while, but now being able to just integrate that and accepting it is who I am, and being able to show it more and allow it to come up more in situations. Like, I almost try and twist some conversations to like allow myself to be like, I'm not perfect, I have anxiety, just to like show that it's there, and then being like, well, now this facade's kind of gone. The presentation isn't to be what people want me to be, it's just to be myself, and whatever happens after that can fuck off. So I guess overall the inner voice in myself I'm building is just more compassion and empathy.
When are you going to stop? When are you going to be done?
When am I going to stop?
When are you going to be done?
It's $1 million question right now. The last few years I've been getting asked that a lot. I think because I went through a tough period at one point where I wasn't thriving in bodybuilding and I wasn't enjoying it too much. And I think I almost like hinted in my energy that this wasn't like going to be forever. And people are like, he's going to retire. So now I get that question all the time. But since integrating myself more into this, like I was speaking about, the Cbum Urs Christopher, being myself more, allowing myself to feel the stress sometimes makes me more excited about the good parts and feel all the joy rather than just numbing stuff out. It's actually made it a lot more fun. Overall, I'm a lot more excited every year now and I look forward to it. So every year now I'm like excited to keep going, to be better.